I can talk about that a little bit here. Yeah, so we did have some rain and stuff come through a few days ago, but with that front, because it was coming from the north, behind it was all that wildfire smoke, kind of trailing that system. So that's why we got this wildfire smoke after we saw that rain a few days ago. And then how long is this going to last? The advisory is in effect until noon on Thursday. We should start seeing some improvements, Thursday in the afternoon, but we certainly can't rule out still some unhealthy for sensitive groups or that USG, that orange level on Thursday yet. So it's still going to be a few days before our next kind of weather maker comes through and is able to actually flush some of this out of here.
Great, thank you. Laura, you can go ahead and unmute.
Hi, thank you guys so much. I have a couple of questions. I think the first would be for DHS, and that is, is there a potential for, sensitive groups to face lasting impacts from, the inhalation of this air? And number two, is there a potential that this air quality, has any impacts over 4th of July weekend when a lot of Wisconsinites are spending time outdoors and on the water?
Regarding lasting effects, I think most of the effects would probably be occurring during the event or afterwards. There can be a lag between when an air quality event occurs and when someone might experience asthma exacerbation or a cardiovascular issue. So it can, like, if you look at the CDC is looking at these data right now, and they suggested that after an air quality event ends, it can be up to a week. That they can see increases in some of these conditions, increase in respiratory and cardiovascular issues. Regarding July 4th, I think I'm not sure that I have anything much to say to that. I think that it really depends on what the air quality is a week and a half from now, or I guess a week from now, and I'm not sure what that's going to look like. I don't know if anyone from DNR has thoughts about that.
Yeah, in the short term, I know like our 4 to 7 day outlook here, kind of looking at the weekend and a little beyond, we are forecast to be in the good to moderate range for both PM 2.5 and ozone. So things will certainly be improving. But again, we'll keep an eye on things, because if that weather changes at all, there's a chance we could get more smoke impacts. But the way the forecast looks for now, 4 to 7 days out from now, we're looking at good to moderate air quality.
Thank you, guys.
Awesome, thank you. Channel 3, go ahead, you can unmute.
Hi, my name is Meryl Hubbard. Just a quick question. So are there any greater environmental implications as to why this is happening, and what, this can do to pose risks to our ecosystem?
I guess a little bit why it's happening. I know we've had, typically our wildfire season starts later in the summer, like July and August, when we have hot and dry conditions. Those conditions have started a lot earlier this year. Up in Canada especially, they've had just prime conditions for wildfires. So that's kind of been the big factor there. I'll pause and see if anyone else from DNR has any other comments on that.
Yeah, this is Ron. I guess I'll just echo that there always is a wildfire season, except for really wet years. In Canada, it just started earlier this year. It usually starts in July, and they're used to having a lot of the fires in the remote areas, and a lot of their areas they're not extinguishing the fires. It's kind of a let burn policy right now, and I guess that's their normal practice, as long as there aren't timber threatened, and obviously people or houses would be the #1 priority. But just this year, I think we've seen a lot more of the north winds with our weather patterns. So we're seeing a lot more of this smoke in the Midwest than we normally see in June.
Perfect, thanks guys. Brad, you can go ahead and unmute.
Okay, hi, hopefully you guys can hear everything okay. My question, kind of going along with the 4th of July, I guess, we have some celebrations starting as early as Friday in some of our local communities, Saturday, Sunday. One of the big questions we're getting is, does this smoke have potential to impact the visibility of fireworks, and just could that put a damper on fireworks shows if it is too much smoke up there, and do we need to be concerned about that?
Again, it's hard to say right now. Looking at the forecast, we're expecting good to moderate. So the way it looks right now, it looks like there shouldn't be too many impacts for fireworks or things like that, especially nothing like we're seeing today here. This is definitely the worst of it here over the next few hours today and kind of going into tomorrow. So things should be improving for the 4th of July. Interesting enough, we usually around the 4th of July in the air program, we'll put out a message or something that, some of our air monitors will actually pick up some of that PM 2.5 from fireworks shows in bigger cities if our monitors are close enough. But those are really isolated incidents, and that smoke from fireworks is pretty contained and pretty short term, so it's not really much of a concern there for us, but we do see it sometimes.
So I guess, does it have potential to impact visibility if it was heavy?
Like today, I'm sure it would, because it's very thick out there today, but we don't anticipate conditions like this for next week. So we don't think it should be an issue, but if it were, yeah, that would definitely, reduce that visibility there.
Great, thank you. Margot, you can go ahead and unmute.
Yeah, thanks for the information. I think a lot of people are also curious about gyms, indoor gyms, and if that's advisable, in terms of exercising indoors. What your thoughts are on that?
Yeah, I don't see any issue with moving exercise indoors. Certainly preferable to outdoors. Indoor air quality is affected by outdoor air quality, but most of our indoor spaces have some sort of ventilation or some sort of HVAC system that's probably makes them a better place to exercise than it would be to exercise outside right now.
Mark, thank you. Bryant, you can go ahead and unmute.
Yes, I think also a lot of people are curious about how can people protect themselves from this, the particles themselves. I'm not sure if we touched on this yet, but any advice that we have for people out there?
Yeah, there's a few things people can do to protect themselves from the wildfire smoke. I guess the big one, if you don't have to be outside, the best way to avoid wildfire smoke is to stay indoors. We did mention, I think someone mentioned wearing an N95 mask can help protect against some of those smoke particles as well. And then in your home, make sure your doors and windows are closed in your home so you can keep that wildfire smoke and those particles outside. And then run your air conditioning on recirculate if you can to help kind of circulate some of that fresh air.
Perfect, thank you. A few more questions for us before we wrap things up. Katie, you can go ahead and unmute.
Great. Thanks for holding this. I think my question is probably to Ron, and I'm sorry if you mentioned this when you were listening off, but has Wisconsin DNR sent any fire crews or staff to help with the fires?
So we haven't sent anyone to Canada yet. We did send some firefighters to Michigan to help them with a 2,400 acre fire. But we do have a compact with Ontario and Manitoba. And part of the reason why we didn't send any firefighters to Canada yet is because of our drought here in Wisconsin. And we typically were not very busy with fires in June in Wisconsin, but this year due to the drought, we are using all of our resources from Wisconsin DNR to take care of Wisconsin first. And hopefully we keep getting more rain, and then eventually we can assist our partners to the north.
Awesome, thanks, Ron. Channel 3, you can go ahead and unmute again.
Thank you. Yeah, just to follow to my previous question, you mentioned the early drought season in Wisconsin and Canada. Would this be a result of possible global warming that's been happening?
I guess I can't really speak if it's to global warming, but it's definitely the driest we've been, I think, since probably 2012. was the last comparable year where we're really dry. Ironically, normally in summer, we see the droughts start to build in the Western United States, and they're seeing the rain, and we're seeing the drought. So we just, I guess our weather pattern just kind of changed for this year, and the rain that we should be getting is just in the western part of the U.S. But I don't have the experience to say whether that is the result of global warming or just natural weather patterns from year to year.
Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you. Caroline, you can go ahead and unmute.
Hi, this is actually Alexis at WKOW. I just had a quick question for you. So is this the first year that you have issued air quality alerts for PM 2.5? And is the current air quality index the worst that parts of Wisconsin has ever recorded?
Hi, yes, thank you for those questions. So this has been a pretty unprecedented spring season. And when we say spring, I mean like from April to the end of June here. The DNR has issued 9 air quality advisories for PM 2.5 as a direct result of Canadian wildfire smoke. So 9 this year. Before this year, we haven't had a spring PM 2.5 advisory since 2011. So it's been a little over a decade since we had 1, and we've had 9 this year. So in that sense, it's been a very unprecedented spring for us. And we have also had 12 ozone advisories this spring as well. It's been a very hot, dry, sunny spring, so that's produced a number of ozone days for us as well. So yes, more advisories than usual for sure this spring.
Okay, thank you so much.
Great, thank you. Laura, you can go ahead and unmute.
Hi, thank you guys. So I just had a question for you, Ron. You were saying that it's super dry this year. And so kind of unrelated, but would it be advisable to be shooting off fireworks this 4th of July with those dry conditions?
Yeah, we always, I mean, no matter what the weather system is, of course, we advise people to be safe with fireworks. There has not been a super severe drought where the DNR has come out and issued any emergency burning regulations, which would prevent people from using fireworks or outdoor smoking or outdoor grilling. But we definitely want to let the public know that, you know, if we don't get any precipitation or if the ground is not wet when you're lighting off fireworks, it might be best to hang on to those fireworks or light them off in an area where you're not going to ignite a forest fire.
Perfect. Thank you, Ron. All right, everyone, we'll give you another minute or so. If anyone has any last minute questions, please feel free to raise your hand. If you're watching this later, we are going to send a recording out after this briefing. You can always shoot an email to dnrpress@wisconsin.gov, and we'll get you connected to these 3 so you can get those follow-up questions answered. So along with that recording we're sending out later, we're also going to send out some graphics that we just updated. In fact, I think we're going to drop those in the chat currently. We went ahead and made some graphics to help share with your audiences. They are sized for broadcast, for social media as a square, and then also sized for slides to share in stories, just talking about how to build DIY air filters, how to keep kids safe outside, how to keep yourself safe outside. So that information that we transferred for download is now in the chat. We're also going to send that in the media advisory going out later. Those are graphics that you can use today, or as Craig hinted at, perhaps in the future over the next few weeks, if anything else does pop up as we look ahead through the rest of the summer. At this time, I don't see any other hands popping up for us. So thank you all for joining on this last minute call. If you do have any more questions, again, email address is dnrpress@wisconsin.gov. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Need emergency weather alerts before conditions turn bad? Download the First Warn Weather app right now. Turn on notifications and I'll alert you when severe weather threatens. The First Warn Weather app. Get it now.
Powered by News 3 Now.